if you think a very good thought, right? Or you compile very good thoughts, put them together into something perfect, what happens is, instead of walking from one place to another, you put together thoughts from different realms, different areas, and you come up with the concept of a car, which is a product of a lot of thinking. But I'll tell you what, it makes you able to almost teleport across the country in one day. You can go from one city to another city. Yeah, and this is a prime example of how thought makes you need to use less effort and need to have less emotion about stuff. Imagine discovering that you need to walk from New York to Chicago. Something is like, this is super annoying a thought, right? Now imagine you had to fly from New York to Chicago. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And that's the product of thought. I'm emphasizing thought because the necessity of setting up needs to be considered within your thoughts. One can use too much emotion and too much effort and lack thought, when thought would make all the effort, all the emotion disappear. Yeah? A premeditation, prevention is better than cure. A premeditation can make your life massively simpler. So you need to actually set aside time to invent the car, invent the plane, premeditate your life. And hopefully it makes your life easier, but also there can be the effect of making other people's lives easier because you took a moment to stop and think. Now, the moment in which to stop and think is a non-ideal moment, meaning you don't stop and think at the right time. What you do is you stop and think at almost the right time, or kind of the right time, or vaguely the right time, if not for such and such happening. There'll never be a perfection of the right time, there'll never be a perfection of balance. So it sort of means that you need to plan amidst some problems. Now, do not set aside the time to plan within an epic danger, handle the epic danger, but plan in an emergency. You do need to set aside the time to plan and think in an emergency, and polish yourself up in that emergency, because realize that life in itself is to some extent an emergency. There's always something that you need to do, yeah? From Elon Musk down to the janitor at your school, down to, you know what I mean, the trash man. There's an emergency. So then you need to somehow comfortably have an emergency so that your composure is good enough to plan, which will increase your composure further. And then secondly, you need to polish yourself up. Get your jacket dry cleaned. Get a couple clothes that will help your profession. Work on your understandings within your profession. Polish yourself up. Because this is the difference maker, yeah? A crisp white shirt could be the difference maker between you and the other applicants to a job. Could be the difference between them choosing that other person over you to provide a service. I'm a photographer, to provide photography at the wedding, so on and so forth. The difference between you and a regular person. Today, I've been having wonderful compliments, by the way, like this past 2 weeks. I've been having wonderful compliments. A couple people came to the venue I'm at. This is King's Crawl. And on the other, it's two establishments. One is King's Crawl, which is a high-end restaurant, and the other one is Cotton Lounge. People that come to the restaurant where I like to sit, to be visible. And they asked this. They sort of asked, without ever talking to me, they asked the hostess, they asked, is that a celebrity? I think I've seen him somewhere before. They may or may not have seen me somewhere before. I have a 2-year-old photography career, but also I've been on the radio, I've been on the news, I've been in the newspaper before, and I think in the new week, I'll be in the newspaper for the second time for being ranked in my second Continental Award at one of the top universities of my continent. It's called WITS University. But I'll tell you what. If they don't know me, then it's an aura point. It's just I'm well dressed enough or I look good enough that I could be a celebrity. Do you see? And that's a positive. It's an element of polish. You definitely would want to look a little better. Look a little better. And it doesn't mean that I don't have another emergency right now that I went and bought. Suits, bow ties, so on and so forth. There's emergencies always everywhere. But I'll tell you what, the distinction in what will actually get you out of your emergency is the planning, is the polish, is the slight technical edge that you will have. Be that an edge in dressing, be that an edge in posture even. But you need to take the time to refine yourself. And that's the big idea of the video. Things that will stop you from refining yourself are your composure within battle, your composure within the emergency. You need to somehow gain an ability to have composure within battle, within the war. You need to have composure. As long as there's no enemy right in front of you pointing a shotgun at you, you should be, within gunfire, able to plan. Now, this can be achieved by knowing, firstly, facts about life, knowing that it is a little bit battlefield-like. No, it's not a little bit battlefield-like, it's very battlefield-like, if you observe it closely. And secondly, you can achieve it by just going into so many damn battles, and such huge battles, that whatever it is you're experiencing feels normal. But it is a composure aspect. And the second thing is discipline. Yeah? Discipline. You can get too excited by your life to stop and plan. Do you know that? Particularly money is exciting, and what you need to do is avoid the seduction of this excitement. Avoid the seduction of money, avoid the seduction of whatever it is that feels nice. And set aside time to plan, set aside time to polish. Yeah? Polishing your shoes is an important part of your day because it is a distinction maker. And it could kill your destiny to not polish your shoes. So realize the importance of preparation in your life, and understand that the difference between you and the god of your realm, the difference between a waiter at a normal place and a waiter for the royal family, the difference between a street photographer and a high-end photographer, the difference between a starving artist and the very greatest artists in the world. The difference between them is sometimes that their shirt is white, yeah, because they washed it. So understand that preparation is a very big part of what's going to make you win. So set aside time for preparation, mindful preparation, preparation in quiet, and if you're at war, relative quiet, God damn it, but you'll need to prepare. And that's the idea.